Hello, everyone, and welcome to this monday.com Elevate 2020 session on Microsoft Teams and monday.com. I'm so excited here to talk to you today about how you can stay agile in this new world of modern work by bringing together these applications, Teams and monday.com, into one experience together. Now, I'm Mike Amerlon. I work on the Microsoft 365 ecosystem marketing team, and I work across a number of different applications from Microsoft, things like SharePoint and Word and Excel and PowerPoint, Outlook, and those kinds of applications. And I also work with Microsoft Teams. And as you can imagine, Microsoft Teams, a workspace and meeting tool from Microsoft, has grown quite considerably in the past 3.5 years since Microsoft Teams has been released. It's actually the fastest growing commercial application for business in Microsoft history. So more and more teams and more organizations are experiencing the benefits of coming together in these workspaces, having their meetings all in one place through this application with Microsoft Teams. And now you can actually experience the benefits of bringing your monday.com boards and experiences straight into Microsoft Teams and using them there as well. So to kick off today's session, I'm going to cover a whirlwind of different topics. I'll start with a little bit about what Microsoft Teams is for those of you that maybe haven't experienced it before, just to give you a little bit of a look at how it works and how it's organized and what it looks like. But then I'm going to kind of step back and talk a bit more about the bigger picture. What are some of the trends in modern information work? Obviously in 2020, things have changed quite a bit. We're all experiencing kind of a new world of remote work, of connecting, of a need for more flexibility and agility. So with that, we're going to describe how we really think it's best to kind of build out a modern workplace. How you can adapt and tailor tools like monday.com and Microsoft Teams and a number of other applications all in one place to really build out your modern workplace, which actually needs to kind of work, over the internet, connecting to people, remotely. It's more important to think about your digital environment probably than your physical environment when it comes to actually how people work together. We'll talk a bit about monday.com and Microsoft Teams and how we have these new integrations that connect the applications together in really interesting and beneficial ways that you'll see in this presentation. Fundamentally, we talk about agility and how your team can become more agile. Well, our key philosophy, our key theory of the case, if you will, is that by freeing up more of your time, by sparing you from having to do the drudge work of maybe aggregating information or searching for things or finding for things or spending time ramping up to understand the bigger picture, if we can save you that time, that frees you more hours in the day to go think more strategically, to see the next upcoming change that's going to impact your team and to react to it. And so the key to more agility is more time, freeing you up, freeing your team up to think about the bigger strategic things that you have going on. Now, I'm Mike Amerlon. As I said, I've worked at Microsoft for over 20 years, which I know quite a long time. The cool thing is I've worked across a number of different products that you may have used. I've worked, for example, on Yammer as one application that brings people together and lets them communicate in an open way across their entire organization. I worked on some things like SharePoint and Office. I worked on Bing Maps for a while, which was pretty great, getting to see the world, so to speak, one country at a time through mapping, really interesting technology. And I worked on things like Combat Flight Simulator, so kind of a different change of pace as well. But, also an application where collaboration and teamwork is pretty essential, for better for us. But the key thing that I've focused on is productivity software, working on applications to make teams more productive and more effective. And again, Microsoft Teams is really kind of one of the most impressive, pieces of software that Microsoft has put together, in my humble opinion, to really help teams be more productive. We talk about Microsoft Teams as the hub for teamwork in Microsoft 365. It's built with this philosophy that, applications get better and your team becomes more effective when they're integrated and connected and integrated together in one place, which is why Microsoft Teams starts with this idea of, yes, it's chat, and yes, it's an ability for your teams to come together in a chat-based workspace, talk to one another, but it also layers in things like meetings and audio and video calls so that, if you want to take a chat and you want to upgrade it to a quick call or go the other direction, you can actually do that pretty seamlessly and pretty effortlessly. The great thing about that is that, for example, the conversations that you might have, maybe a recorded meeting that you had with your team, that's in the same place where you're going to go find your chats. So it's all available for you there in one place. This also helps you collaborate more seamlessly. So you can also bring in your work artifacts, things like, PowerPoint presentations or Word documents or, spoiler alert, other applications like monday.com, all in one place so that you can collaborate with your coworkers in a very seamless fashion. We think that taken together, this really has the opportunity to go simplify your work and simplify your work experience by making all these applications discoverable in one place. And then of course, inside of Microsoft 365, the idea is that this is all built on the foundation of security, privacy, compliancy as well, so that, as you work through these applications, you can rest assured that the infrastructure that you're using, is using all the industry best practices, best in class security, best in class privacy, those kinds of things, to make sure that your team can be at its most effective, while also, making sure that you've got that very robust foundation as well. So with that, I'd like to maybe just do a very quick demo of Microsoft Teams to show you a little bit of what it looks like. So I'm going to come over to my Teams instance over here. Now this is, Microsoft Teams hosted in a web browser. Of course, you can go download applications for Windows, for Mac OS. We have a version for Linux in preview. You can download it for your mobile phones as well. And the first thing that you can see, actually on the left-hand side of Microsoft Teams, we have a number of different applications and integration spaces right inside the product. Now in this case, we've got chat and Teams and calendaring. So I can see all this information in one place and get started and work with it. In this case, I'm chatting with Jasmine over here. I have some simple chats that I've been sharing with her. I can actually go chat with bots. Here's a monday.com bot. I can go work with Adobe Creative Cloud or SurveyMonkey, a number of applications and a number of conversations all in one place. Now, the centerpiece of Microsoft Teams really comes together, well, in the concept of a team. This is a place where everyone can come together to go, solve a task. Maybe it's, in this case, the Contoso sales and marketing team. That's all here in this one place to go collaborate and work together. Now, in this workspace, you'll see a number of different channels. We've got a channel for go-to-market. We've got a channel for enablement, for partner marketing and the like. And of course, it all starts with chat in a workspace so that I can say hello, like this, and share information with a team. Now, to me, this is actually the coolest capability of Microsoft Teams, because now it converts those conversations that might otherwise get lost in your inbox, that might be hard to discover, and puts them into an open and transparent space. So that as somebody who's trying to share information with your team, you don't have to spend time thinking about who should be on the to line or the CC line. You can just go put it out for everyone in the sales and marketing team to go work through. The other thing about this is, imagine a world where, as I mentioned, more and more people are actually sort of joining and sort of looking to work together on different teams. That actually makes it more flexible for people to kind of come in, see all the conversations, and see all the things that have happened, inside of Microsoft Teams, inside of this Teams workspace, excuse me. And so you can just work through all these different teams. You've got chat, you've got Teams. You also have the ability to integrate apps, and we'll talk a bit more about that. But we have a number of different applications you can go integrate, and this is also where you can go get a monday.com integration inside of your Teams workspace and experience. Now, Microsoft Teams has actually had significant growth. As I mentioned, it's one of the most popular applications, the most popular application in Microsoft commercial history for organizations. We have over 75 million daily active users, and we also have a lot of meetings. We have over 200 million meeting participants in a single day, and over 4.1 billion meeting minutes generated in a single day as well. Now, if you think about maybe pre-pandemic, like an average day would be something like 560 million meeting minutes. So that's a great increase in the number of overall meeting minutes on average that organizations are going to go see. And so a lot more conversation, a lot more meetings are happening all in this place, all inside of Microsoft Teams. Now, even before the pandemic, there was this kind of need to go improve the digital workplace. This is something that really always sticks in my mind as one of the most important facets of productivity. Now, we've did some research and found that, about 20% of an average information worker's time is spent just tracking down and hunting down information. So that means basically going across applications, gathering information, searching for things, finding it, putting it together, building out reports. That's 20% of a person's time. Now, if you think about that, that's actually 1 day in 5 in a particular week. It's just spent searching for information and pulling it together. So that has a really big impact. If you can actually go ahead and simplify how people find information by putting it all together in one place, you can actually make a huge impact on productivity. Now, 59% of managers always feel like they're missing something, and quite frankly, sometimes I do too. My inbox can sometimes overflow. But we're, by moving more and more workloads into Microsoft Teams in one place, it makes it easier for people to go find things. And we'll talk a bit about that. But, yeah, there's definitely this sense that, some managers are actually missing important, communications due to information overload. The final stat, which is kind of the most meaningful to me, is that, kind of in a 5-year period, between 2013 and 2018, information workers found themselves in twice as many teams as they did before. That's a pretty radical change. People are just in more and more teams, more and more virtual teams, maybe the kinds of teams that spool up. do something over the span of 2 months, conclude, and then spool down. Teams that maybe work with outside vendors or people outside your company, cross-company relationships, those kinds of things. There's just more and more teams that people find themselves in, which really increases the importance of being able to help people come into a team, get up to speed quickly, get all the context they need to go execute, make some decisions, accomplish some tasks, and then move on, to their next team. Now, with the pandemic, with 2020, of course, where, when, and how information workers come together and work is changing significantly. First, of course, we're all dealing with the pandemic in various forms and around the world. We're all, taking precautions, and we're all, many of us are working from home, and the like. Now, at some point, of course, there will be a post-pandemic phase, but one of the things that we asked people about was, do managers think that remote work is here to stay? And 82% said they still expect to see, more flexible work from home policies post-pandemic, meaning that, people will want to actually continue to have that flexibility of working from different locations. Maybe your team is no longer in one city, they're a little bit more around the world. And people are going to want that flexibility. I think something like 74% of workers actually wanted to take advantage of those more flexible, work policies as well. So definitely something that's almost certainly here to stay. The other thing that we notice as we sort of see people use Microsoft Teams, and as we see that increase in work that people are doing through remote meetings, there's actually like an hour average increase in the sort of a scope of a person's workday. So no longer is it really just 9 to 5. People are sort of responding or doing work outside of those hours more broadly. Now, the other thing we see is that more people are actually doing work on the weekends too. Now, that's probably not a great trend, to be quite honest, but the thing you have to realize, or the thing that I'm sure that you all realize, is actually, in some cases, people are dealing with more, challenging situations, at home. Maybe they are parents of children who have to do remote learning, and so they have to be, stewarded through that kind of a, situation. Of course, there's just this need for flexibility across our work and across our personal lives that's really important to be respectful for, which is why that maybe some more people are actually working on the weekends, taking that time to actually go and get things done. At Microsoft, we've had to be reiterative of this idea that some people are going to send you text messages and Teams on a weekend, and that doesn't necessarily mean go drop everything and go respond to a chat. You should still feel empowered to make sure that your time for working is on a Monday. Well, then go respond on a Monday. So the rules of the road and these kinds of communication cues are important to uphold and reinforce, especially as we actually do a lot more remote work and connections and those kinds of things. Now, the other thing is, I think kind of a meta conclusion is we're still all, trying to figure this out. And we're all still trying to iterate towards, the most optimum experience for yourself, your team, your organization. We're doing some research into how meetings work and how we can make people more effective if they've got 4 hours a day full of meetings or 6 hours a day full of meetings. We're finding that these video meetings that you have, if you have 6 hours a day of video meetings, it's actually more strenuous than just having 6 hours a day of in-person meetings. Something about the way that, having your video on, maybe connecting to other people, kind of increases a little bit of the pressure that people feel. Now, in Microsoft Teams, we're actually working to improve that. We have, for new views of attendees inside of a meeting, we have something called Together Mode, where you can actually see all of the employees in kind of like a stadium-like environment, which actually reduces the stress because, you're a little bit more anonymous, you're a little bit less, put on this, stage box, so to speak, for you to go perform within. And we find that that actually reduces the overall stress. But for all the IT professionals, for all the people who run teams that are listening to me right now, it's also just a role that you need to go fulfill too, which is, okay, realize that 2 hours is probably a good amount of time for people to go spend in meetings before fatigue sets in. So recommend that people take more breaks, whether that's an hour between meetings or whether it's, well, we would have scheduled in a 1 hour meeting, but we decided to shorten it to 50 minutes so that people have 10 minutes to kind of recuperate, to kind of focus on other things, to take a break, to catch their breath, those kinds of things. That's really important policies to go adhere to. The other thing is just a very clear social thing, which is 60% of people feel less connected to their colleagues since moving to remote work. I don't know about your team, but on our team, we've had folks that have joined it, since the remote work phase, has kicked in. And so there's employees on our team that some other people on our team have never actually seen in person before. And, you think about their experience, you think, Well, normally when you're coming onto a team, you can maybe go down the hall and ask your neighbor, hey, how do you do this? How do you go file an expense report? Where's the copy machine? How do I do this? How do I do that? And, that kind of informal, knowledge gathering is missing, in this remote work world. And so experiences like Teams and, Microsoft Teams, or, things like, maybe setting up a meeting once a week where people can just, come together, they can eat their lunch. Maybe we do that on our team, where maybe people can come together and discuss what their weekend plans are, and we don't talk about work, those kinds of things. Those are really important capabilities and team practices that are really important to put in place to make sure that people retain that connection. And, as a team, we're experimenting with a number of different things at Microsoft. We have a book club now, which I think is a great thing. We have, like I said, we have these lunch meetings where we just come together, and the like, to go meet and to chat and just to stay connected in ways that we weren't before. So, yes, digital meetings can be more intensive and strenuous, but they can also be important tools for remaining connected to your team. The other thing I'll just say is that by having all this information in monday.com, open to people to go see, by having all your chats inside of Microsoft Teams, again, that helps all those people, replicate some of the things that they might be missing because they can't connect in person. So what does this mean? We really think that there's some traits of applications that are important that can really support this path to agility. Now, first and foremost, we think that, every application should be built on this foundation of security, privacy, and compliance. These are as important as ever to make sure that your applications are compliant, that they're, of course, secure and that they respect your privacy. You need to be able to kind of not sweat that, to not have to worry about that. They are important, of course, but when you build on applications that have that security and privacy and compliance built in, they're built on best practices, that can help to take a load off your mind. Of course, we think it's super important for applications to be simple and straightforward and approachable. I think that's a great thing that monday.com has done. Make their applications very approachable and easy to use and easy to jump into and get started and start working with. We think that a key facet of applications is also that they can integrate with one another. So that applications aren't silos where you have to go dive in, go collect some information, dive out, go to the next application, dive in. By connecting applications together, by applications taking advantage of the context about what's going on in your team and what's going on in your organization, they can help you become more effective. Transparency is another important attribute. This is something that, we believe in Microsoft Teams, that when you put all of your chats into one Teams workspace, they become more transparent and open and available. And then finally, I'll just mention really quickly, flexibility. Teams requirements are going to change. I think, now more than ever in 2020, I think one lesson is we don't know what we don't know, and to prepare for the notion that things are going to change, maybe in ways that we can't predict. And so by making sure your applications are flexible, they're customizable, they can be tailored to how your team works, and if situations change, you can go and reconfigure them to make them work in a better way. That better prepares you to be more agile. Like I said, transparency, we talked a bit about that, but I think it's kind of a key trait of Microsoft Teams, being able to see chats all in one space. And this is something that I know that monday.com is also built on as well. So it's a really complementary philosophy that Monday has, that, they're designed to kind of make all of your tasks and make all of the work more open and more visible, easy to see, and easy to know what's going on. And that transparency is really the key to helping people, be more effective on their teams. Now, in Microsoft Teams itself, it's really manifested in a number of different ways. As you probably saw when I did that first demo, Microsoft Teams is designed to be customizable. So, every facet of it, you can be extended, can be tweaked, can be, enriched with an application, starting from the left-hand rail to the Teams integrations that you see here. In this case, what I've done, for example, is I integrated an application from Microsoft Power Apps that helps me manage the set of work orders that our organization has, and that I've brought inside of Microsoft Teams. You can choose to highlight different types of tools for different audiences. So if maybe your legal team, they need to deal a lot with contracts, so they can go work with Adobe Sign. So you can actually go pin and choose different applications to go feature inside of your Microsoft Teams workspaces. Now, monday.com is also a big believer in the power of integration as well, and they have a new fantastic integration for Microsoft Teams as well. And so what you can see here is, first and foremost, you can actually bring your boards inside of your Teams workspace, so that, maybe you're chatting inside of Teams, maybe you're sending people information, you want to go check out what's the list of the latest tasks or the active projects or places where people are stuck. Well, you can very quickly move over to your team board. You can actually go see all the different boards that are available to you. You can see what the progress of different tasks. And again, imagine that you're a new hire onto this team. Isn't it awesome that you can actually come into this team's workspace and then you can very quickly jump into your team's board and see how all the pieces fit together in one place. Monday.com actually has a number of different great integrations. So they also have a bot. So imagine, for example, you're on the go, you're on your mobile device, and you want to go, maybe just have a quick chat interface to go record a particular task that you want to make sure gets into the system. Well, Monday.com also has an integrated bot that makes it quick and easy to go create an integration, and then a new item, inside of a board. And then finally, there's also this capability to actually see all of your personal tasks that are active and available inside of Microsoft Teams as well through a Monday.com view. So taken together, your teams can see all their different tasks on all their different boards in one place. As an individual, you can see all of your active tasks in the teams. And then when you're on the go, you can very quickly submit and work with your different items and those kinds of things in Monday.com as well. So really cool integration inside of Teams. Let me go show you what that looks like. So I'm going to come back over to my Teams experience over here. You can see that I've got a number of different tasks, a number of different items here. Now, one thing I can do inside of Microsoft Teams is I can just go implement or integrate with a number of different applications. In this case, I've got this custom application here. I built it, you can tell. This lists all of the different organizations that we're working with, that we're working to track. And so, as an employee, I can see all the organizations that I have here. We have that customer success application that we're just talking about. So this is a custom application that maybe we have to go track our customer success efforts, also available in one place. And of course, the key to work is your tasks, your projects, your boards. And Monday.com is a great system for working with that. And so here I can see that Monday.com board all in one place. I can see the active items. I can see things that are stuck. I can do a number of different activities here. And so, for example, it's fully interactive. It's the same great Monday.com experience that you're used to. In this case, what I can do is I can add a new item and I can say, plan for fiscal year closeout or something like this. So very easily, I can just come in, I can go add a new item. It's very quick and easy for me to go do that. And of course, again, I have all the different tools available from Monday.com here to go get started with. Now, the other nice thing about this is, the key is integration. The key is maybe making sure that all this can connect to your, conversations that you're also having. So in this case, I can say, hey, everyone, it's the end of September, which may mean the end of your fiscal year. And so what I can do is I can highlight to people that they should go connect with their Monday.com tasks. And so one of the things you can see here is first September, I need to go correct the spelling. But the thing you can see here is that we have a number of different integrations at the bottom that can extend and enrich your chat conversation. Now, of course, there's things like animated GIFs, which of course actually play a huge role in making sure that your teams are connected and keeping it light and not being so serious necessarily. I think that's an important part of work as well. But in this case, I can also embed a Monday.com task. And so in this case, I can just very quickly search for or go pick a new item. I can add this Monday.com task right in the middle of my conversation like so. And then I can go post it inside of my Microsoft team. And so that will pull in some of the context from the task directly inside of my conversation. And when people want to, they can actually very quickly link over to it. So, even if you're just saving people the time of, having to go find, open up Monday.com themselves and maybe go refine the task that everyone was talking about, it plays a huge role in sort of saving people time all up. So this is one integration. But the other thing you can also do is you can have this kind of persistent application that's pinned to your left-hand side rail inside of Microsoft Teams. So in this case, I can come here, I can just go select Monday.com, I can go pin it if I so choose, so that it's always available. You can go pin it if you so choose. And in this case, what I can do is I can very quickly say, hey, Monday.com, go create a new item like so. And again, imagine I'm on the go, I'm on my phone, I don't want to open up a complicated form, although Monday.com's experience is not at all complicated. But in this case, this is even easier. This is even simpler for me to go do. I can say, I want to go create a new item. I want to go create it in the suppliers board. I want to say, calculate year-end bonus percentage or something like that. I can say next like so. I forgot to fill out which group I wanted to go put it in. Fill out bonus percentage like so. Sorry about that. And then go click next. And then, very simply, I'm able to have that task inside of my Monday.com board. So very easy and straightforward for me to go ahead and Go get that into the system very quick. Once you get used to it, once you get used to the fact that all of your applications have these kind of chat type of integrations, it actually becomes really straightforward for people to go work with, and especially when in mobile situations and when they're on their go. So a number of different types of integrations. You can also see your week and sort of the set of activities that you need to go work through, and start at monday.com. You can see things like your inbox as well. So a number of great tools here that you can go see and work through. I don't have that many tasks left, so that's pretty great. Now, coming back to Microsoft Teams, again, just the idea that you can pull all these applications into one place. You can enrich your conversations with monday.com. It's a really powerful capability. We're so excited to see this integration inside of Microsoft Teams. And given that tasks are so important to how work goes, this is a really critical integration to go have. Now, what we see over the past 5 months, in remote work, is that people are adapting this kind of a pattern. More and more teams are actually, more and more people are actually using applications like monday.com inside of Microsoft Teams. This outpaces our all-up growth. So, it's just this growing trend that more and more people are coalescing their work inside of one place. One of the things we actually did is we worked with Forrester, which does market research, and they commissioned something called a total economic impact survey of having all these items in one place in a collaboration workspace. And one of the things that they found that's the most critical is that teams that integrate their applications into one place can actually save somewhere between 65 to 108 hours per year of time, by integrating these applications together. Well, what this really means is that this is like over 2 weeks of, more time for people to, think strategic thoughts, to react to change, to steer their team, to guide their team, that you get back just by integrating applications all into one place. 90% of people experience productivity gains when it's easier for people to, share and manage and work with their projects all in one place. It can really increase the overall productivity. All of this adds up to somewhere between an $8.8 million to $21.7 million savings for a medium-sized company over 3 years. So a really important benefit for every team to kind of take advantage of. This is really the key to agility. By freeing you up, by giving you more time, you have more time to focus on the big rocks, the big things that are really standing in your team's way to really accomplish those bigger tasks. And, this is, time that you're not spending actually having to go drudge through information. So it can actually make your work more fun too. And that's a pretty great thing as well. So just to kind of summarize, of course, in 2020, as we all know, modern work is changing rapidly. Our CEO, Satya Nadella, said, "We've experienced 2 years of digital transformation in 2 months." And, that's definitely true. Like, things are just changing so quickly. Now, it's important to realize we're all still learning, both, as software organizations trying to deliver the most productive software, as individuals actually trying to work and find our groove in our organizations, as team leaders trying to find out what works best for our teams. It makes sense to keep working and keep iterating to make sure that you find what's best for your team. And also just take the time to find the culture that works for your team. Whether it's, maybe having more enforced breaks, that sounds fun. Having more time to gather as a team to maybe, just, come together and do things like maybe different types of games or the like. It's important to find your groove as a team. Now, for applications, by focusing on simplicity, transparency, and flexibility, you can really sort of improve your overall productivity and save yourselves time. Monday.com obviously focuses quite a bit on the transparency and simplicity, and they have lots of capabilities for flexibility, so it's a really great choice. Now, Microsoft Teams and monday.com support these kind of concepts when they're integrated together. You really get that power to kind of interweave your conversations and your tasks all in one place. If you're looking to try Microsoft Teams, I'd recommend maybe getting a trial. If you don't have access to Microsoft Teams, you can go to aka.ms/getteams and go try the monday.com integration. It's available through that store icon in the lower left-hand corner of your Teams integration. Go connect it to your boards and go deliver those ultimate collaboration workspaces that will help your team become more effective and save you time and become more agile. So with that, I'd like to thank you for attending my talk on Microsoft Teams and monday.com and the power of those integrations that you can see together. We're so excited by the integrations that monday.com has, inside of Microsoft Teams, and we hope that you experience the benefits of connecting these two applications together. I'm Mike Amerlin. Thank you for attending.